Good evening, everyone. As I sit here in my hotel room at the Holiday Inn Express where I stay in Evansville just about every 2 weeks, I thought I'd share a story of a not so pleasant time that I had with this exact change just about 2 years ago. So my wife and I were privileged. I had the opportunity to win my company trip, my old company 2 years ago to Venice, Italy. Great time. The problem is, and I normally don't have flight problems and situations, well, I had two of them on the very same trip, both coming out of Philadelphia to Venice, Italy, and then coming back from from Philadelphia, coming home to Indianapolis. My flight was canceled for a full day, delayed number of times, then canceled. So we're really tired. We're getting into Philadelphia. We've already been canceled on the way there. Now we're being told that our flight's going to be canceled till the next day. Not only that, because it was weather related, we're not going to be, we're going to have to pay for our own room. So I was upset. We were tired. We find a Holiday Inn Express where I can get points where I usually stayed, real nearby the airport. So we get to the room. I called and made sure they had room. They said they had one room left, and I put it under my name. I get there and check in and all that. We get to our room. It was probably about midnight. We were exhausted and we were asleep within a few minutes. About a half an hour later at 12:30, we get a knock on the door. Like, what in the world is going on? I thought, maybe it's a prank, it's a mistake, it'll go away. Well, maybe 25, 30 seconds later, it kept coming. I was like, I gotta find out what's going on. My wife's like, be careful, make sure it's nothing, someone's not trying to get in or something. So I look out the peephole, I said, can I help you? And it had somebody with a Holiday Inn shirt say, yeah, we've made a mistake. We've booked your room twice. There's somebody else ready to check in your room. We need to talk to you. I'm like, I'm not leaving this room. I'm exhausted. We had this reservation, but I'm going to have to go down. Now, my wife, skeptical, and I had to think in my back of my mind, is this true? Is this something that's real? Is somebody trying to get me out of my room and try to rob us? But it seemed legit, and I am trustworthy, so I took my chance. I went downstairs, and come to find out they double booked the room. They had accidentally put me in when they was already reserved for somebody else. Well, finally, after a lot of complaining, they would have had to re-clean the room, which they didn't have the help to do it. They allowed me to go back to the room. I think they got the person another room in another hotel. I was very upset, but obviously I still am at Holiday Inn Expresses. The thing about this is we're talking about hospitality today, and I'm going to share a story that many of you know. But the point of today's talk is, are you good? Are you good? Do other people say you're good? And what I mean by good is we're going to talk about the story of the Good Samaritan that Jesus taught. And as far as this time, these people were not being very hospitable to me. They were not caring about my concerns. They were worried about filling their hotel, and they didn't care about what that meant for them at that time or down the road for future business. And that's the opposite of how we as business people, as Christian people, or as people in general with high morals and respectability, that's not how we need to act toward others. So let me share this story. Luke 10:25 says, and behold, a lawyer stood up to put him, being Jesus, to the test, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, well, what is written in the law? How do you read it? Well, he answered, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said to him, you have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live. But he, desiring to justify himself, said to Jesus, and who is my neighbor? Well, Jesus said, as he often does, he gets into a parable to explain what this means. He goes, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers who stripped him and beat him and departed, leaving him half dead. Now, by chance, a priest was coming down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. He went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him on his own animal and brought him back to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, Take care of him. Whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back. Which of these three, Jesus said, do you think proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers? Well, the man said, the one who showed mercy. And Jesus said, you go and do likewise. So the point is, there's a lot of different pieces of this story, and I don't want this video to go on real long. These are supposed to be short. There's a number of lessons, 5 key lessons to get out of this story. Number one, and let me say this again. As a Christian person, we follow Jesus. We don't follow other people who say they're Christians. We follow the teaching of Jesus. And these are the teachings of Jesus. But even if you're a businessman, I'm in sales, and these are moral things that if I'm going to have empathy to other people and want to show concern and care about them so that they care about me and my needs, it's a way of, you have your Christian responsibilities of love others like Jesus taught, but you also have your business responsibilities of being trustworthy. So whether you're Christian or not, these are standards that we all need to meet. Number one, be willing to get involved. You see, the Samaritan didn't worry about his own concerns or whether he was late to a meeting. He was willing to be involved in any situation. Are we willing, when we come across people in need, to get involved no matter our circumstances? Number two, manage your money well. You see, he had the money to be able to take care of somebody. What if he was not a good manager of his money and he had no money to take care of him and to send him to an inn and take care of him down the road? If we're good managers and good stewards of our finances, then we'll be ready when things pop up unexpectedly. Number three, be trustworthy. You see, the Samaritan was somebody that could be trusted. And here again, whether we're in business, sales, whatever line of work we do, but especially those of us who call ourselves Christians, we have to be trusted. Because of the love and the service that Jesus gave us, we need to show to other people, and that comes down to being trustworthy. Number four, be generous. Here again, the Samaritan was generous with his time, was generous with his money. He wasn't concerned about his own needs. He was concerned about serving somebody else's who was in need, even though he didn't know him. Are we willing to do that and take that chance? And number five, ignore racism. What I mean by that, this is a long explanation, but the Samaritans were not only didn't associate with Jews at the time, they were hated by Jewish people. They were people, it's almost like if we would go back to the 200, 300 years ago in America when you had the slaves and the free white men. I mean, you had people that hated each other and that took it, the slaves that were taken advantage of. And unfortunately, we still have racism today. In a wide variety of avenues. The key is, don't be racist about other people. Treat other people with the empathy and the respect that you would want. And those are the lessons we need to take in our walks of lives. Here again, especially if we call ourselves Christians. I'll leave you with this quote from John Acuff, the author. He goes, empathy is understanding what people need and acting on it. Empathy is understanding what other people need and acting on it. This will bring in trust from the other people and want to care about what you care about and listen to what you have to say. Have a great day.